Hi friends, it's Deanna here today, and today I've got my top 5 most used sewing tools. Let me show you what they are. Alright, so there are a few tools that I use basically all the time when I'm sewing, and I always have them handy. I have a few of them. I use them all the time. And now there's some that you're supposed to use a lot, and I can never find. As a matter of fact, I can't find any of them right now. But I'll mention. It's like an honorary mention. I don't really like to mention it because I don't like it. Comment below if you already know what I'm talking about. But here is the tools that I always have around me on my table. So first we're going to start with cutting tools. I love, and I couldn't just pick one of them because they are so useful. My snips, my cutting snips, these are so helpful for when I'm trimming little pieces of thread here and there, or when I have to clip really close to the seam allowance or something like that. That's what these are for. Then regular scissors. I mean, you always have to have a good pair of fabric scissors because it can get really annoying when you have to cut fabric for some reason and your scissors don't work. So you always want to have a good pair of fabric scissors handy, and then pinking shears. I have not used these forever. I just started using them not that long ago, but now they've become like my favorite thing to use. These are great for woven fabrics for finishing off those edges so that they're not going to fray. But I use them all the time when I have to snip into the seam allowance, or if I'm doing something that's lined and I want to clip really close to it. These are perfect for that kind of snipping, and they are so strong too. They're a little scary to use sometimes because they can cut really good, but scissors are top thing that you need to have around you at all times. Okay, another thing that I love to use is this little poking tool. Like, I literally keep this with me all the time. You want to have those nice edges, nice finishes. A poking tool like this is so necessary for you to have that sharp, and you can turn things around and just poke through and not hurt your fabric. It's got this rounded edge too, so you can, go around the edge of something that's more rounded or something like that. But this is something that I always know where it's at because I feel like I use it so often. It's going to show it just like this, but this tool, poking tool, it's very useful. All right, number 3 would be my water soluble marker. Now let me tell you a little secret. You don't have to have a special water soluble marker. You could really just use like a washable marker or something that's going to, all you got to do is you want to grab your fabric and you want to grab that washable marker, Crayola marker, which you can get they're pretty inexpensive, and you want to go ahead and mark your fabric in one spot that doesn't matter, and then go over to your sink and wash it and see if it comes off, and then there you go. You can use that because then it'll come off when you wash it in the laundry. But having a marker that you can mark your fabric with is so important because you can have like button placement, or like if you gotta sew a certain amount, or if you gotta outline a dart or anything like that. Having these handy is so important in your sewing while you're sewing. So I love to have a marker, water soluble marker, handy at all times. Number 4 is my handy dandy tweezers. So these are kind of a little bit shorter, but they're really sharp. They're just plastic, but I do have some longer ones that I like to keep in handy too. These are so great for when you're threading your machine, or when something gets kind of stuck and you want to pull it out, or when you're working with gathers, or you're working with something that you're going really close on your machine. You don't want to really stick your finger in there because, you don't want to ever get a needle in your finger. So using tweezers comes in really handy to help you push the fabric along, because if you get a needle to the tweezer, is not nearly as bad as getting a needle to your finger. So I use the tweezers to kind of guide your fabric through as I'm sewing it. If I have gathers, if I need to kind of hold them down. So the tweezers come really handy at all times. I mean, I'm literally always reaching for the tweezers as I'm sewing. So that's my number 4. Now, my most used tool for sewing would be my clips. I love using clips. Clips come so handy when you're sewing to keep things together. Obviously, I still use pins for when you're like attaching something that you have to sew around or something like that. But For clipping all your seams, clips are so easy because you can do more than one step at a time, in the sense that they're not going to move on you like a pin sometimes will. It's not going to fall off as easily as a pin sometimes will. And it's also not going to hurt you like a pin sometimes will. Especially if you drop them on the floor and step on them. These will crack. The pins will hurt you. So I love using clips for sewing. And these are my 5 favorite tools. Now, comment below and let me know which are your favorite tools for sewing. Do you use the same tools I use? Are there other things that you're like, we really needed this? And comment below and let me know. Now, let me tell you the last thing. This is an extra, and it's the one I was talking about at the beginning. And you tell me below if you guessed it right. Seam rippers. Seam rippers come in so handy when it's time to fix a mistake. And that's why I don't like to talk about them, because I don't want to ever see them. Nobody ever wants to make a mistake, but they are really helpful when it comes to that. I have a ton of them and I can never find them. I don't know why. I don't know. Let me know if you also suffer with the same problem, that you can never find a seam ripper when you need it. But that would be my extra tool to always have handy, just in case you make a mistake, which we all do. Anyway, that's all I have for y'all today. Comment below and let me know which ones are your favorite tools. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss any of our tutorials or any of our fun videos. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and on Facebook. I'll see you next time.